Hello, everybody. All right, so we got week two out of the way now, and not real happy right now. Obviously, we lost to BYU late last night, early this morning. Such a frustrating game. Uh, I'll I guess I'll talk about them when I get to them in our new updated rankings. So I've got what I got here is a lot of changeup. The only team out of 10 that stayed in the same place is TCU. So, in other words, there's a new number one and there's a new number 10. Uh, we're going to start from the bottom. Who is the worst team in the Big 12? And, we can't say Kansas right now. Not anymore. Maybe wait till next week. Who knows? So, who could that possibly be? Yeah, we're definitely talking about West Virginia. Again, so, I mean, your overall body of work, maybe last week didn't look so bad because Pittsburgh was ranked number 17. Y'all lost on the road, but then you followed up and they followed up and they lost yesterday. Pitt did. They lost to Tennessee, I think. I'm drawing a blank here on who they lost to. I think it was number 24 versus number 17. So that doesn't make that West Virginia loss really look that much better, in my opinion. So then, of course, West Virginia, we know what they did to with Kansas yesterday. Uh, Lost in overtime. I'll give you that. But you lost at home to Kansas, who is a little different animal than I remember. It's been a long time since they were a good team. And when they were a good team, it was only for about a year or so. And then they fired their obese coach, Mark Mangino. But anyway, yeah, Kansas looked pretty good. But more importantly, the bottom of these rankings, I have West Virginia. Furthermore, in that game, yes, it went to overtime, and yes, it was one play that changed it from a one-score game to a two-score game. So that 55-42, if it had been in the regular time, looks more impressive. But to me, that's still impressive. You beat them by 13 on the road. West Virginia is not the easiest place to play. Baylor hasn't won there yet, at least not until this year. That's who we got. That's who we got at the bottom. So does that mean I have Kansas at number 9? Nope. I moved them above number 9 too. Who do I have at number 9? I've got Iowa State. You won. You finally beat an overmatched Iowa. I think y'all haven't won in like 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. Iowa's always had your number, even when y'all had superior talent, better coaching, all that. But they just always had your number. But Iowa in their first game scored 7 points, which was a field goal and 2 safeties. Couldn't even get a touchdown. Yesterday, Iowa State beats Iowa, and Iowa still only scores 7 points. They finally get a touchdown. That looks like a horrible offensive team, and Iowa State wins 10-7. Tough rivalry and all that stuff. Okay, but still, Iowa looks like they could be the worst team in America this season. We'll see. But yeah, based on that, I don't have a lot of love for Iowa State right now. And it's a little convoluted conference here. We've got some good teams. I don't know how many great teams, but we'll get into that. All right, so I got to have Kansas number 8, right? No, I moved them further than that. So who do I have at number 8? I have Texas Tech. So I'm not completely impressed with Tech yet. They have head coach Joey McGuire, the former Baylor linebackers coach, great recruiter, a good motivator. All the players love him and all that. I think there's a good chance that his time will come. We'll see. as I've said before in videos, you can't, to me, in my opinion, you can't just expect Baylor results from a former Baylor assistant just because, you get to find him out, and he is not going with the Baylor defensive philosophy as much as he's going for the normal same old Texas Tech offensive philosophy. We'll see how that works out for them. But so why do I have them as low as I do at number 8? So they beat Houston. I gave Houston some love last week because they went to triple overtime and beat UTSA. That, if that doesn't make sense to you, it's because over the last 2 to 3 years, UTSA has actually improved greatly. I don't know who to compare them with, like an Appalachian State or North Dakota State or somebody that comes out of the blue and surprises you. Well, they've been doing that at a lower level, but still almost going undefeated a couple of times here recently. And then UTSA barely beat Army yesterday, so I'm knocking them down for that, which means I'm knocking down Houston for going to triple overtime with them. And now, in turn, I'm knocking down Texas Tech because they went to overtime to defeat Houston. Those are my thoughts. That's where I've got them for now. Hey, you keep going undefeated. I can't keep you down forever, right? Okay. Do I have Kansas at 7? Yeah. Okay. So I stopped there before I got too crazy, but you beat Tennessee Tech, a bad lower school, and you dominated them as if you were a good school. I said that last week. I mean, questioning myself, wait a minute, does this in fact make you a good school? That's what good schools do to bad teams. And y'all beat them 56-10, I believe. Well, then you go on the road and you beat West Virginia, and you do it in a pretty good fashion. And nobody seems to be stopping your points. West Virginia is supposed to be a little better defensively than that, I would think. But they gave up 55. And, Kansas is I told y'all last week, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Kansas. We'll see how far they can actually take this. Clearly looking like a bowl team right now. Are they going to win the Big 12? I don't know. They had before, I think. I think they did one year. But we'll see how that goes. But hey, so far so good. Congrats to you, man. Y'all are looking damn good. So we're going to jump to number 6. Number 6, I've got Texas Christian University. And I'll backtrack a second here, but just to reiterate where we came from after week 1, West Virginia, in my opinion, dropped 4 spots down to the bottom one. Iowa State dropped 2 to number 9. Texas Tech went up 1 to number 8. Kansas went up 3. And TCU, as I said earlier, is the only team that didn't move. Okay. So TCU, what to like about them? They completely dominated a bad opponent yesterday and still undefeated. Got to put them somewhere. I don't have a super amount of love for them yet. We'll see. Brand new offensive philosophy with Gary Patterson defensive players that are, old enough and ready to start. So it takes a little time, in my opinion. It's very hard to do what Oklahoma State did last year and say, hey, you know what? We're just going to be a defensive team, and all of a sudden it just works year 1. Super, super hard. So that's where I'm at with TCU. I feel like they're number 6 right now. So now to the top 5. Kansas State, I actually dropped one, and I don't remember the name, but discussed it with you. My thought process in the Facebook group, Big 12 Sports and Smack Friendship group. And he's questioning, well, what the hell? You dropped Kansas State 1? And I kind of thought about it. I was like, why is he questioning that? And then I looked, oh, yeah, okay, well, week 1, they win 34-0. The only shutout in the Big 12 so far. Obviously, clearly a good defense. And they defeated Missouri 40-12. So 2 good dominating performances. Why am I dropping them? Okay, so it's only because, as I explained in the Facebook group, is that I'm not that high on them. I'm really not high on Adrian Martinez as quarterback. So, you got to prove me wrong there. I know you have a great defense. I know you have Deuce Vaughn. that'll take you a lot of places, man. Uh, but I'm a little down on that quarterback, and I just have to be proven wrong there. I felt like they got way too much preseason hype. People talking about maybe them contending for the title, and I didn't necessarily see why. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it was that other people saw. It's looking like I'm wrong, but I still got them at number 5. It is looking like I'm wrong. They are impressing me more than I thought. We'll see how Adrian Martinez holds up, and if they continue to do this, kudos to you if you do. So, who did I move up above them? Oklahoma State. I moved them up 1. So they started off with Central Michigan and built up an incredible lead. Then they put in their backups, and Central Michigan goes nuts on them and puts 44 points on them. Okay, well, that completely, it was the only bad performance in the Big 12 last week. Like the only team that gave up that type of points to a lower school, and most of us faced lower schools other than West Virginia, who played Pitt. And you have to excuse me a sec. So Oklahoma State, they did that against Central Michigan, and then I found out, well, Central Michigan was 9-4 last year. Maybe they're a lower school, but not a bad lower school. Maybe a good lower school. Maybe a great lower school. I'll give them a little bit of credit on that. And then they followed that up and finally showed me some of the defense that I expected from them, and defeated Arizona State University 34-17. Much better performance, much more of what I would expect. And I gave them a little bit of love back, moved them back up to number 4. We'll see how that plays out. I feel confident in that today, and might change next week. Probably will. This one's going to break my heart, but yeah, I can't honestly say Baylor is number 1 on the list right now. Hopefully, for my sake, Baylor's sake, they correct the problems that they had going on yesterday and rise back up. So, okay, so here's my thoughts on the Baylor game. I'll have a little more insight for this one than everybody else, every other team, rather. Okay, so what made me think Baylor's got going to win that game is, despite all the altitude, which clearly you could see it played a factor in the game. Despite all that, we have at least 8 deep in our defensive line. When I say 8 deep, there's 12 guys that they can't put out there. 8 of those guys have NFL potential. I'm not making that up. 2 of those guys are on the cusp of first-round draft picks. Siaka Ika, and then Gabe Hall is actually, depending on who you talk to, is projected higher than him. So they're both projected first-rounders. I don't know about Jackson Player. If he becomes a superstar like we believe, well, he's 6 foot tall, so probably not going to be a first-round pick, but legitimately, it seems as if we've got about 8 guys that could make it to the NFL. We'll see. I'm not saying that they're all going to have 10-year careers and Pro Bowls and all that, but at least make it, and hopefully make some rosters and all that. I'm pretty confident a lot of them will. Why am I going on about that? It's because with that altitude, what are you going to do with 8 defensive linemen that, you can sub out all game and keep them fresh? I thought we were going to roll over them because of that fact. Because you can't rotate out offensive linemen. You just can't. You have to have your best 5 people out there at all times. You just can't rotate them out. And I thought we were going to have all these fresh defensive linemen, and it just didn't work out that way. It was sort of the opposite. They were able to pressure our quarterback. We were not able to pressure their quarterback enough. And to add to that, there's some issue with the passing. What was the issue with the passing? Why in the second half they completely abandoned it? I don't remember how many times they passed, but it was just over and over running, which the offensive line did good enough. But with the pass protection, was that why they kind of gave up on that? Because Blake Shapen was getting pressured too often? Was it because Monterey Baldwin was out and they didn't feel like they had a good, credible, deep threat anymore, so they abandoned it for that reason? Was it because we had all these young receivers that got winded? And and if you don't have time to wait for somebody to get open, and these guys are running trying to get open and can't, was that the reason? So there's some issue going on there. Altitude won't be a problem anymore, but I'm greatly concerned about how this plays out. Gary Bohannon was great for a run-dominated offense. Great quarterback for that. I want to say a lesser version of a Jalen Hurts. Not going to kill you passing, but it will kill you running. That's Gary Bohannon. Perfect if you're going to be a run-dominated offense. We don't have that. We don't have him. We have Blake Shapen, who will scramble, but out of necessity, not as a game plan. I'm okay with it not being a game plan. I don't like that. I think our quarterbacks get hurt too often with that. So we have to have a balanced offense, and now I have to kind of question, okay, well, what happened? I'm still, I guess I'll need a game or two more to see exactly how good or bad that receiving core is, if that was the issue. Was it the offensive line? Is that the issue? Is it both? It's a combination. I don't believe they took the ball out of Blake Shapen's hands just because they didn't trust him. I don't believe that at all. He seems to have the talent. He seems to make all the right reads. He seems to get rid of the ball if there's nothing open safely. Doesn't really take a lot of sacks, but he got pressured so much yesterday. I don't know. I think it's a possibility. Maybe all those factors came in play, and they just said, all right, well, we're going to do like last year. We're going to run it down their throat. And we were successful, but they weren't like 8, 10, 12-yard, 20-yard gashes like we normally do. It was just a very steady 3-4 yards, 3-4 yards, 3-4 yards, And it didn't work. It didn't really wear them down. Not enough. Not in my opinion. Not enough to take over the game, to dictate terms and control the clock. It didn't happen. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm concerned about our offense now. If we need some kind of balance for me to go back and say, okay, yes, they look like they have the most talent in the Big 12 and a possibility to do so. So there we go. I had to drop Baylor 2. I dropped them at number 3. As I told y'all last week, I believe I dropped Texas last week. I had them higher in preseason than I did after week 1. And I said, well, if they go out and lose to Alabama, but it's a close game, then yeah, I could see myself moving them up. I didn't think I was going to, because I assumed Baylor was going to win, and I thought everybody else above them would win, and I would still have to keep them down. But that's exactly what I did. I moved Texas up after a loss because Alabama's Alabama. I don't think that's a fluke. There, I don't have to sell Alabama to you. 5-star backups, all over the place. Very well coached, very well disciplined, and Texas punched them in the mouth all game. And I'm a little shocked that they didn't pull it out yesterday. I hate Alabama so much that was the one time I almost halfway rooted for Texas. But yeah, I moved them up to number 2, and y'all know that only leaves Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat Kent State 33-3. I want to say by halftime that was real close, which is concerning to me as an outsider of what Oklahoma can do. So we will see how that works out. Maybe I have them too high, but who am I putting above them right now? I'm not sure. Oklahoma State, Kansas State, have a claim to kind of move up there and show what they're about, what they can do. Maybe they're going to overtake Oklahoma. But at this point, after 2 weeks, I've got Oklahoma number 1. And that is my Big 12 rankings. Got Oklahoma, and then Texas, and then Baylor, then Oklahoma State, and then Kansas State, then TCU, then Kansas, then Texas Tech, and then Iowa State. And that's what we got. Did I miss a team? No, I think I got them all. West Virginia at the beginning, at the bottom. That's who I missed. All right. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Help a boy out. Hit some likes and subscribes. I would like to build this page up, this channel up, at least a little bit. I'm not interested in thousands, and millions of views and subscribers and all that. Just here to have a little bit of fun and talk some smack with y'all. Speaking of talking smack, I love y'all, but sick of bitches.